Hello, my book and wax friends. I'm Amber. Welcome to my channel. Welcome back if you are returning. Welcome if you're new. Today's video is all about my favorite books of the year so far. So these are the 5 stars / there's a couple that are 4.75 on the list as well that I have to share with you. And I'm going to go from my least favorite of the favorites to my most favorite. So let's jump into it. The first one I have to share with you is a 4.75, and that is Beg, Borrow, or Steal by Sarah Adams. And this is the 3rd book in the When in Rome series. Super fun series. This has been my favorite of all of them so far. And it is about a girl named Emily, and each book is a different sibling. Emily Walker is her last name, and she ends up being rivals with this other, she's a teacher, and she ends up being rivals with this other teacher who is pretty much the male equivalent of herself. And it ends up being, he ends up having to help her with getting an email back that she accidentally sent to the principal at her school. And this is takes place during the summer, and she's secretly writing a very smutty romance book, and she accidentally sends it to her principal and knows that her principal would not appreciate that at all. And so she enlists the help of the mailman character, who I can't remember his name off the top of my head. Let me see what it is, because I know what is it? It is Jack. That's right, Jack Bennett. And things go from there. So it's a love to hate type of relationship, or no, sorry, not love to hate, hate to love, is what it ends up being. It's a lot of fun. I really related in a lot of ways to Emily, with her, type A, feeling like you have to control everything type of personality, which I'm learning. I'm not as bad as I used to be, but anyway, so 4.75. I did not give it a 5 stars because of the content. This is, I think Sarah Adams has one other book that does have an open door scene. There is an open door scene in this one. It is very mild, but it is there. But she does, if you're one who's like me, who's sensitive to those types of things, Sarah Adams does put at the beginning of the book where to skip, which is very, very appreciative for those of us that don't like those types of things. So that, and there was some profanity that I wasn't appreciative of either. So it didn't get a full 5 stars because of that. But it's, like I said, it's been my favorite so far of the When in Rome series. And I will for sure read the final book in the series, which I think comes out either January or February, something like that. And that's about the final sibling, Maddie, in the quartet of siblings. So, okay, the next one is also 4.75. This one is Just Like Magic, and this is by Sarah Hogel. And this was a lot of fun. This was a fun Christmas book, rom-com book, that really took me by surprise. Did not get the 5 star because of the profanity in it. Like I said, if it's too much, I just can't rate it 5 stars. It just goes down for me. But if that doesn't bother you, highly recommend this Christmas book. So fun. It is about a girl who's part of this. She's an influencer, kind of has a fall from grace, but she's also part of this famous family. Her grandmother, who she's been compared to all her life, was a very famous actress and well-known, very famous. And so the main character has been trying to free herself from her grandmother's shadow. And at the beginning of the book, she is destitute pretty much. She's holed up in a house that is in the hometown of her grandmother, but no one knows that she's there. She's squatting pretty much. And she doesn't want to go to every year during Christmas. The family all gets together, but she believes the family is drama, and it's always just not a good time when they get together during Christmas, and she feels judged and all that sort of thing. So at the beginning of the book, she ends up getting drunk, and she, in her drunken stupor, she plays a Christmas album. She has a record player. She plays a Christmas record, but she plays Mariah Carey's song, and she plays it backwards on accident. And from that, the spirit of Christmas appears, and the holiday spirit, and he's there to grant her wishes that will bring Christmas spirit to her. So there's a lot of hijinks that happen. It's a very, if you're looking for a Christmas book that has that holiday magic, definitely this book is it. Highly, highly recommend it. And it is clean as far as the romance goes. It's just a little bit of the profanity. I'm very close to rating it 5 stars. Very, very close. So anyway, that is Just Like Magic. Highly, highly recommend if you're looking for a sweet, fun, laugh out loud at parts Christmas book. Okay, moving on to the books that are actually 5 stars. And the first one is The Little Prince by Antoine de I can't say his last name. I don't speak French, but everyone should know The Little Prince. And this is a story about a little prince who lives on a faraway tiny planet. He ends up coming to Earth after exploring other places, and he meets this man who crashed in the desert in a plane. The guy's trying to fix his plane. He comes across the little prince, and the story goes from there. This is a classic children's tale. It really got me in my feels. There is a lot that you can glean from the story, but it's mainly about love and what matters most in your life. So highly, highly recommend that, The Little Prince. Okay, next up, my next favorite I keep on always wanting to say but it's just Lovely War by Julie Berry. And this is a magical realism type of tale that takes place during World War I, in that it's a historical fiction, but there is slight magical realism elements because the story is told by the Greek goddess Aphrodite and then some other gods. She's telling the story of what happens to these two separate couples during World War I. And again, a book that has a lot of heart. The romances were very sweet, and you were absolutely rooting for these characters and all the atrocities they had to go through during World War I. And I absolutely cried during a couple of the scenes, and I loved it. I thought it was so good. Obviously, that's why it's on my 5-star list. Okay, then after that is The Most Wonderful Crime of the Year, and this is by Allie Carter. And this book was so fun. If you watched my mid-year freakout book tag, this was my most surprising book of the year so far, anyway. And it's a lot of fun, and it was most surprising because I have not for the past couple years really been into mystery books at all. Every time I've tried to start a mystery, novel, I end up DNFing it, it seems like, or it's a slog for me to finally get through it. I don't know what it is. I'm just not feeling mystery novels right now. But I read this. It is a mystery, but it's also a rom-com at the same time. It's about two different authors that get invited. They don't know where they're going at first, but they get invited to go to this famous mystery author's house during the Christmas season. And it ends up being the main female character's like all-time favorite author. And she loves mysteries, and that's what these other two authors write, are mystery books. And what ends up happening, and this is pretty much the beginning of the novel, is the famous older author, the last she was seen was in her office, and then next thing you know, she's disappeared. So people don't know what's happened, whether she's been murdered or what's happened, because it was locked, the door was locked, so it's a locked door mystery. So fun. Loved the banter between the two main characters, and I really thought the mystery was clever. There are some stakes in the whole story that I really enjoyed, and there was, a few twists that end up happening that I thought were so fun. So highly recommend The Most Wonderful Crime of the Year. Now, if you're looking at that book to go into a story that's very Christmassy, I wouldn't say it's super Christmassy. It takes place during Christmas, as I said, and there's snow and whatnot, but they don't really do a lot of Christmas things, really. They're trying to solve this mystery, obviously, so not a lot of Christmas things are going to happen while you're trying to solve a mystery. So in that aspect, if you're looking for that, I wouldn't say that this is the one you want to go with. For sure, just like Magic would be the one you would want to go with. But if you're looking for a good, fun mystery that does take place during the Christmas winter season, I highly recommend this one. So that is The Most Wonderful Crime of the Year. Then after that, for places 6 and 7 of my most favorite books, I have Anne of Avonlea and Anne of the Island by Ella Montgomery. These are rereads, which I have some honorable mentions at the end that'll rereads as well. But the Anne series, the rereads, it's been years and years since I've reread these books, even though they are all-time favorites of mine. It's been a long time, and so they're almost like reading them for the first time. So I feel like I can put them on this list. So they are book 2 and 3 in the Anne of Green Gables series. So you're continuing to follow Anne's journey as she's becoming older. So it starts from Anne of Avonlea. I think she's 16 at the beginning of that, and it ends when she's 18. And then Anne of the Island is 18 to in her 20s. So they continue to be wonderful books, still all-time favorites of mine. And you get that amazing descriptive landscapes and I just says descriptive. That super homey, cozy feel that you get from the first book, and I just love it. I love Anne. I love all the extra characters that are a part of Anne's life. I love, they're just the best. So they had to get high up on my list for sure. Okay, second from highest. So this is my second favorite so far this year. So Anne of Avonlea was 3rd and 4th, and Anne of the Island 3 and 4. So number 2 goes to Mistborn by Brandon Sanderson. I just read this in May and absolutely adored it. This is a high fantasy, and it's amazing. I do highly recommend it if you're looking to dip your toes into high fantasy. I think it's a good one to start with, or at least dip your toes into his writing. Trust of the Emerald Sea was really good as well. That's more of a standalone, but still does take place in the Cosmere. If you're looking for a series in the Cosmere, I would say for sure Mistborn would be the way to go. It is a little slow to start, but that is understandable with the fact that you are learning about this world and the magic system. And what it comes down to is they are trying to overthrow the Lord Ruler, which in that world they look at as a god. But they do believe, this little found family do believe that they can kill him. The leader anyway thinks that he can, that it can happen, that he's not truly a god. And so it's a heist slash let's overthrow the government story with magic, and the magic is metal based. So if a person who has the magical abilities ingests a metal, it gives them that ability. And a Mistborn is someone that has control over all the metal elements. And so they can use all the different abilities that are tied to the metals, the different metals. So love the story. Again, it made me cry in parts. It made me sob actually in a few parts. And it has some of my favorite characters. Like I said, it has found family. It's amazing. Highly, highly recommend. And I'm planning on next month to read the second book in the series, which is The Well of Ascension. So crossing my fingers, it's 5 stars as well. Okay, and then number 1, if you watched my wrap up. Oh, and I just forgot that I had these books in front of me. All right, the Anne series, Emily Wilde's Compendium of Lost Tales is number 1. This is the 3rd book in the Emily Wilde series, and it is my favorite so far of the year. I adore this series so much, and the final book did not disappoint me. It is a cozier type of fantasy about a lady named Emily Wilde. She is a professor, so this is historical fantasy. So it takes place in England, but in this version of England, well, and other places, but this version, fairies are real, and Emily is a professor that studies fairies. And in the first book, Encyclopedia of Fairy, she is writing in an encyclopedia, and she goes off to this land where she has heard rumors of these fairies, but no one actually has seen the fairies and survived pretty much. And so they're kind of a rumor, but she needs to find out about them so that she can finish her encyclopedia. There is also a rival type of professor that ends up coming to where she is too in the first book, and his name is Wendell Bamblebee. And she feels like he's there to kind of hijack her research so that he can take credit for the encyclopedia. And it begins there. I adore it. I love Emily. She is a curmudgeonly type of character, but you really see her growth throughout the trilogy. And Bamblebee is just one of my favorite male main characters. He's the best. I do adore him. So that is my favorite so far of 2025. But I do have honorable mentions, like I said at the beginning. And they're honorable mentions because I have the rereads, and I've reread them pretty recently. Well, some very recently, but before that, it wasn't that long ago. So the first is the Hunger Games trilogy. I did reread all 3 books because I, in July, wanted to read Sunrise on the Reaping. Excuse me. And so I reread the trilogy. Hunger Games was 4.75 for me this time around. Catching Fire was still 5 stars, and Mockingjay actually went up in rating from the last few times I've read it, and it was 4.75. So highly recommend the series if you haven't ever read them yet. It is a dystopian series. I do feel like they're better than the movies, but the movies are good, usually the books are always better. Every once in a while, no, but the books in this case are better. Okay, and then last one, I did reread these twice already this year, and I read them for the first time last year, and that is the Once Upon a Broken Heart trilogy by Stephanie Garber. And I know, if you've been here a while, I'm sure you're sick of me talking about these books, but they are my loves. I have multiple copies of the series because I love them so much. So this is a continuation. It's a spin-off series, actually, from the Caraval series by Stephanie Garber. I really did enjoy the Caraval series, and I do have them right there. I have another actually from Fairy Loot that will be coming next year as well. So I do love those as well. But I think this series is superior to that one. But as I've said in the past, you should read the Caraval series trilogy first before you pick up this. It's not absolutely necessary, but if you're one that likes backstory and to see where characters come from beforehand that you don't get necessarily in the series, it should be done, honestly, because you find a character in Caraval is one of the main characters in the Once Upon a Broken Heart trilogy. So in this trilogy, you follow Evangeline Fox, and at the beginning of the first book, she goes to the Prince of Hearts temple, and he is a fate, and fates in this world, in the Caraval world, are kind of like demigods. They're pretty much gods. They're immortal. They all have different types of powers, and the Prince of Hearts is obviously over love. So she goes to his temple. She finds his temple and goes to it because her love, who she feels like is the love of her life, is set to marry her step sister. And it was an out of the blue type of thing that happened. One minute he was in love with Evangeline, and the next minute he's about to get married to her stepsister. And she believes that he's been cursed. And so she goes to Jax's temple to hopefully make a deal to break the curse that she believes is on him. And so it starts from there. You end up from that moment going to a different land called the Magnificent North, and a lot of things happen in it as well. So you get Evangeline. She is just sunshine, and I love her so much. I love Jax. He is one of those morally gray characters, but you get you get to see a lot of the reasons why. And he's not what I would say evil necessarily, but he's one of those, how would you say, kind of like a scamp type of character, although he has done some not good things, but he's not evil necessarily. Anyway, I don't want to give anything away. But I love the series, love the love story in this. It's amazing if you're looking for a whimsical, magical fantasy, romantasy time, but one that is clean. This series is for you. So this is my other honorable mention. I read them again twice, and each time it was 5 stars for all 3. So that's that. So thank you so much for spending some time with me. Leave in the comments any books that are your favorites so far for this half of the year. I would love to know that, and anything else that you would like to chit chat about. I appreciate all of you. Please like and subscribe if you have not yet. And until next time, have a wonderful day. TTFN. Ta-ta for now.